This week, horrific anti-Semitism won again, where two innocent Israelis, members of the Israeli embassy staff, were brutally shot and killed outside of the Washington, D.C. Jewish Museum. And the perpetrator shouted "Free Palestine" and was wearing a keffiyeh on his head. We're seeing how rhetoric, anti-Semitic rhetoric, is becoming action yet again. And so we stand here in 2025, horrified, brokenhearted at what's taken place. And we want to say that we are praying, as always, for the peace of Jerusalem and for the safety of Jews around the world. Now let's go to today's show. Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Israel Update. I have Doobie joining me from Jerusalem. Doobs, thank you so much for being with me.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Now, Doobs, obviously this past week, we discussed more things in detail. Well, we discussed some things with Donnay, but I just really wanted to give our viewers a chance to hear from you a little bit more in depth about what you think about everything that's going on with Trump's Middle East trip. Where Israel's standing. Obviously, we've had these different reports about Israel gearing up to hit, Iranian nuclear facilities. We had the UN decide to go out and say, these thousands of babies are going to die in Gaza without aid, which we know is a lie. And they then retracted it. But from the ground, where you're at, boots on the ground, tell me what's going on, what you think, what the feeling in Israel is. Tell me everything.
Well, the feeling in Israel is really ambivalent, I can say, because what's happening now, it's that literally the opposition is getting stronger and stronger. I mean, the political opposition, due to the fact that everybody is raiding on Israel right now. I mean, all the international media is trying to cover the lies of the UN or the European Union, talking about what's going on in Gaza and starvation, and all kinds of lies like this. And it's inciting the people also in Israel. We're not detached from the world. And the leaders of the oppositions are taking a ride right now, and they're surfing over all the bad media about Israel, trying to just bully the government, to say that this government brought Israel to the lowest ever, and our relationships are at stake with the European Union, with countries separately. And the most worries that they're trying to talk about is the relationship between Israel and the United States, based on the fact that, Israel was thrown under the bus this way or another. You can call it all kinds of different names, but this current visit of Donald Trump in the Middle East, not including Israel, not even sending his vice president, or trying to soften the Israeli government a little bit, or update us exactly what happened, or try to include us in this way or another, it leaves a lot of space for bad interpretations, and the Israeli oppositions are well using it against the government, and they are trying to undermine a lot of things that are happening right now in Israel. As you all know, we are in the midst of the Gideon Chariots operation in Gaza, trying to find out if there's any way that we can release our hostages, but by imposing more and more military pressure over the Hamas in Gaza. We've eliminated some of their leaderships, including Muhammad Sinwar, the brother of the notorious Sinwar that was already gone, and he was the replacement. He took over the leadership of Hamas, and Israel were able to detect where he was hiding, together with some high officials and militants from Hamas, and they eliminated him. They took him out of the game. So we are trying to push Hamas to the edge, so they will compromise and maybe will surrender and let us go and have our hostages back. Israel is willing to go and start a long-time ceasefire. Our demands are very clear. We want all our hostages back, the live ones to be treated and back to their families, and the dead ones to be properly buried. And we are willing to release thousands and thousands of terrorists, hundreds with blood on their hands, and release them back into the territories, back into Gaza. But our other demand is that Hamas is not going to stay in power. Hamas has to step down. They were the ones who attacked us on October 7th in such a vicious way. They are still plotting and working out and storing and stocking munition and all the so-called humanitarian supplies that Israel used to send in. 600 truckloads a day were stolen by Hamas, not given to their own people, so they can show to the world starvation. They don't care about neglecting their own babies, their own children. By the way, this leader of Hamas, Muhammad Sinwar, was hiding in tunnels underneath the European hospital in Gaza and Rafah. So they really don't care about their own people. And the world are coming against Israel. This bystander, this way that the people are trying, like Britain is saying to Israel that we have to stop and they will not deal with us. And our answer to the British ministers were, the British mandate ended 77 years ago. And you don't control the story anymore. You, in a way, Britain brought us to this situation when you preferred the Muslims and preferred the Arabs. And when you were retreating from the land of Israel, you gave all the outposts, all the military outposts, all the police stations, all the control, high grounds, everything you could, you gave it to the Arabs. And yet still the Lord God of Israel was victorious and he gave us the land, even though we started from the bottom and they had a head start. So the situation is very, very bad. And it's not helping all the declarations from the U.S. and the last article on the Washington Post that, the American administration is saying to Israel that we had enough with you and putting more pressure over the Israeli government. The fact that intelligence, American intel, is leaking to the media saying that they have detected that Israelis are training and just finished the whole big drill about attacking the Iranian nuclear facilities, and they're leaking it to the media. It tells you that there is something very bad going on in the U.S. administration. And I think that the president has to take control over what's happening there, because he's surrounded by beehives that some of them are literally hyenas. Because it's just, he said and he declared, and some closer people and Mike Huckabee, the ambassador, the beloved ambassador of America in Israel, said that this will never happen, and America will always stay together with Israel, always stand together, and will be friends. And Trump said that he will never desert Israel, and he will always support Israel. But the voices, the sound, the noises that are coming out of the administration are very bad. Some very bad elements infiltrated into the beehives that surrounds the president. Donald Trump is a master of negotiations. Yes. He's a master in businesses. He knows what he's doing. He knows that when he negotiates deals and stuff like this, you need to separate and control. He needs to put a barrier between the different elements, and he needs to play his game in such a manner. When things were very different during the times where he was on his first term, Israel was the weakest after the Obama administration, and we weren't so strong. So he needed to include us in everything. So he built up the Abrahamic Accords. But now Israel is perceived and, is taken to be the strongest element in the region. The Saudis, the UAE, the Iranians, everybody's seen what Israel can do, how we destroyed 90%, 75, 80% of the Hamas. We took down the entire power and forces of Hezbollah. America is literally picking up the ripe fruits of Syria handed to them by the Israelis when we destroyed all the elements of resistance in Syria, and we literally gave America control over that. And the Arab world is watching Israel as strong as we are, and they don't want to do any expansion, any expansion of the Abrahamic Accords. They're very, very fearful of Israel. They're afraid that if Israel will get stronger now in the times of Donald Trump, they need to unite against it. And that's why I think Donald Trump is doing the game he's doing, is not including Israel in the conversations. Because listen, he promised and vowed to restore the economy of the U.S. He came here, he signed treaties for $1.2 $1.2 trillion with the Arab nations, showing them that he's willing even to give them the F-35s and all kinds of different weapons and do an oil deal with them. So I think that he's trying to appease them in a way. He says, listen, Israel is not as important now. I want you to get stronger. I want you to be there in the very, very front line together with me. And I think that's the reason that he's doing this. But the fear is that by doing that, even though this is maybe a part of his game, it needs to be coordinated with the current Israeli government, because what's happening is that the public in Israel is not seeing and don't understand exactly the way I do. And because of that, they're going to turn their back on this government. They may be going to topple it in the next elections, and then America will not have a partner. And then if the opposition of Israel will take over, all the achievements of this longest war in the history of Israel will go down the drain with people that will compromise, give up, and give lands, and will surrender to the elements of evil.
Thank you so much for that, Doobs. Unbelievable insight as always. And to everybody out there watching, keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem. Do not give up. Do not stop. We know that God has got his hand and his eye upon the nation and upon the Israeli people, even those that are not living in Israel, all over the world. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Israel Updates. God bless.
Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
In an abuse context, I just don't think that Jesus would say to some kid, you've got to forgive and forget and hang out with this man who hurt you. But that's abuse. Let's talk for a second about church offense.
Forgiveness is a choice, and God gives us choice, and he also gives us process,
Yes.
you know. And this will carry over into our relationships in the church. God's called us to walk together.
Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to forget, because we as humans, it's hard to forget. As a matter of fact, let me just be real bold. Unless God really does a huge miracle and, he just wipe all of that out of your mind.
And I remember.
Yeah, you will always remember that. So forgiveness is not forgetting, okay? All right? Forgiveness is surrendering.
Watch now at real-faith.tv.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.